Good morning, guys. What's up? As you can see, it's a rainy day here in Mountain View, which it is a lot of the time, but that's how it is. So today is going to be part 3 of the pump house build, and I'm going to basically be finishing up the framing, putting the siding on, and then possibly painting it. I don't know if I'm going to paint it in the video because everybody knows how to paint. So we'll see how far along I get, and we'll just get right into it. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for watching. All right, so this is where we left off. I apologize if there's some noise trying to do laundry at the same time. Multitasking. Okay, so this is where we left off. I basically have the 4 uprights for the framing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece here, and then that's going to be the support for the door. And then there will be a couple cross pieces that go on either side, and then probably one across the back. I'm going to build the frame piece for the roof, which is going to end up being this material here. So it's just the corrugated plastic, and that's going to be on the roof. So I will just get started, I guess. I got my table set up here, 2x4s, and then the framing is on top of my FJ still. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is where I am right now. Before I go much further, I want to put insulation on the water heater, which is what this roll is right here. So this is just a water heater, basically a fiberglass blanket, which I got from Home Depot. And what it does is you basically just wrap it around, so it helps to keep the water that's in your water heater hotter longer. There is insulation on the inside of the water heater, but by doing this, it'll give it another R value of 10, which is insulation rating for hot and cold. So between doing that and then also enclosing the pump house, hopefully it will keep the water in the tank hotter longer. Because right now what we do is the water heater basically turns on for only about 2 hours a day. We do have a manual switch inside the bathroom, which is just inside this, that window is above the shower tub. There's a switch in there where we can manually turn it on if we need to, but right now we're just basically letting it run on a timer. It turns on 2 hours or about an hour and a half every day. And for the most part, that gives us enough hot water, to use throughout the rest of the day. So that's what I'm going to do now, is to wrap this and get that part taken care of. So also, as you might have noticed on the time lapse, I held up a little puppy. We did get dogs, my wife and I. My wife is here now. She's been here for a couple of weeks. She came here on the 16th, and so getting her settled in, which is another reason why I haven't you know, it took me a little while to do the video because then we had a whole flurry of other projects to do, you know, when she got here. Mostly things inside the house. So now I'm getting back outside and actually getting this one done. So we did get 2 dogs. My wife picked out a puppy, 10 weeks old, which is the one I held up in the camera in the video. And then I got a dog also, which is about 2 years old, and we got both of them from the pound, from the Humane Society here in Hawaii. The one in Keau, if anyone lives here or is familiar, they probably know. So anyway, I'll probably do a video later on, maybe like a quick vlog or something, and show the dogs and like introduce them to the family. Anyway, back to work. Okay, man, that sucked. I hate working with fiberglass. I had to go change shirts. I'm not totally done with that. The fiberglass roll comes with, I don't know, like 10 feet or 8 feet of fiberglass tape, which is not enough to completely wrap everything up, because you want to, the spots that I cut out for the access panels, you want to put, you know, tape around that to kind of seal up the edge, which I did on a few sides, but I need to get more tape. And then the seam on the back there is not completely taped up either. So when you do this, you basically just wrap around. You don't ever put insulation on the top of the water heater. I will come through and put tape on this though, because you see all this insulation sticking out. It's kind of shitty. So I'll come back to that. But now that that's done, I'm going to start on the side panels. Cool. I know this is a lot of time lapse, but it's kind of boring stuff, so that's why I'm doing time lapse, so the video isn't so long. All right, so this is the paneling that I got. This is basically kind of a plywood, I don't think it's composite, but it does have like a pre-primer on it and everything. If you look at the back, it looks like plywood. I think it just has a primer on top, but I'm not sure how they get like the grooves and everything, and maybe it's pressed in or something. And then it comes with the little cutouts. This was the closest one I could find to what the size was that was on the house. So the ones I got are a little bit wider than this. The choices were, they had one that was even smaller than this one, or the one that I got, which is slightly wider. It's not exactly the same. This house was built in like 93, I think, so I'm sure it's changed. You know, it's probably not the exact same material or whatever, but that's what I'm going to be using. So I'm gonna have to use multiple pieces, and this does have like a tongue and groove, which you can see here. So this will be on the bottom, or sorry, that will be on the top, and then it has the tongue and groove piece on the back here that fits over it. So I'm gonna be cutting, my pieces will be this width, so that the lines will go horizontally just like on the house. So I will get started cutting the first pieces for the sides, and then you saw I added in this piece here, which will be to help frame out the door. So this space right here is going to be my door, and it's basically, I'm just going to use 2x4s, build a frame, put the paneling over top of it, and then I'll attach hinges on one of these sides, probably this side, and then it'll swing out this way so that I can get in there to change the filters and whatnot. So that's where we're at. I'll get started. Okay, so this part's going to be pretty straightforward. So this was the tongue and groove lip I was talking about. You want to have this side pointed up so that the top piece will go over that. And basically all I did was I just, measured, cut it. I'm not worried about this edge because there's going to end up being a trim piece that's going to go on the corner of here, which matches the same as, the corners of the house. It's basically just two 1x2s that are going to go on here. So also, since that's going to be on there, when I put my screws in, I'm going to put my screws close to the edge within the 2 inches so that there's actually no screws showing on this part here. And then there's also no holes, for anything to get in, water or whatever. There will be ventilation on here. So at the bottom of the door, or the bottom of this wall, and the other wall, let me move the camera here. So if you see where the 2x4 is mounted on the outside, so that will eventually be like a little opening, or eventually it will be. So that'll be a little opening on the bottom, so we'll have some ventilation. The back is actually going to still be open, exposed to the underside of the house. I may eventually go back and put a panel back there to close that out, because I do eventually have to go and close out the whole bottom of the house too, which is something for our insurance that they asked us to do. So there will be a vent here, and then also at the top behind here, which you can't really see, there's going to be air that can go in there as well. I'm not looking to make it airtight or watertight, but I just want it to be, protected from the elements as much as possible. So let's go ahead and put these on. All right, so for this front piece, I'm gonna have to do a cutout for this pipe that goes through here. So basically what I'm gonna do is I will measure, and then the piece that's gonna go on here is gonna go all the way down to here to match the other sides. And then what I'm gonna do basically is just cut a piece from the bottom that goes all the way around out of the piece, and then I'll cut part of it off, and then I'll just screw that piece in place, and then this piece will just fit in over top. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm at the point now where I need to make the door, which this is going to be the piece that's going to go on the door. But I have to actually build the frame of the door first to connect this to. And another thing that I realized is I am going to need another sheet of this plywood, because I wasn't really taking into consideration with the tongue and groove. Once I cut a piece, I can't use the other part of the piece. So like this piece here, for instance, when I cut this piece out, then the top piece is no longer usable. because it doesn't have the tongue and groove on there. So I'm gonna have to go buy a sheet just to finish this one piece. This section here is all that's gonna be left, really. I might have enough to get this piece done, but maybe this top piece, I don't know, I'll put one of the other scrap pieces on it or something, as long as it doesn't look too bad. So now I'm gonna, I'll make the frame for the door. All right, so the door is done, and I realized another thing that I forgot to buy was hinges, so that's not gonna happen today. And I think since all I have is this one little piece, I'm not gonna buy an entire sheet for that, so I'm going to just cut a piece from here, and then it won't quite, match up right with the tongue and groove, but it'll at least be covered. And I most likely am going to rebuild this door because I really don't like how it went together. I think I'll build more of something a little lighter, like a shaker style or something. I don't know. Pretty sure I'm going to redo that though. But otherwise, all the walls are done. I'll get that little piece here in a minute. So the next thing to work on is going to be the roof. And I have this piece of smoked plastic roofing. And then I have these little things here that come with it. So this basically matches the profile of the roof. And you put this on there and then you screw the roof down on top of it. So it kind of fills the gaps from the ends. And when I did this, so that's why I did this beam is at the same angle as the roof instead of being straight, as well as that beam. So those plastic pieces are gonna go across here and then the roof will lay on top of that. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. So these pieces actually click together. They have like a little locking piece here on the ends. And I believe I'm gonna have to probably cut one of these pieces. So, yeah, about right there. And then cut that side off too. Actually, let's move it that way. Okay, well, that's not good. So let's try this again. All right, so that one right there, that's where I want to cut it. So it's basically the third one on this next piece. Leave that up there. put this one in the same spot. And then I need to get a measurement from the wall to here. So 36 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the pieces. Okay, so I got the pieces cut, getting ready to put them up here. The one sheet was just barely enough. I'm gonna have to split that last piece, but it's gonna have a lot of overlap, so it'll be fine. Plus it's already under an overhang, so it's not like there's going to get really any direct rain on here at all. This is more just to keep, you know, dust and things like that out, maybe some rain if there, you know, is wind-blown rain that comes in from the side. I'm not going to be able to hold the camera and drill these in and all that. Let me see if I can put the camera here. I don't know if it'll stay or not. And I don't know if you can see or not. Oh, I guess you can see pretty good. Okay. I'm probably going to lose pieces. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Okay. So I was gonna do a little bit, I was gonna do one spot overlap over here, but that's quite a bit more wobbly than I wanted it to be, so. And there goes my pieces. Okay, let me grab that piece that fell. Okay. And another thing too is I actually don't have the proper screws. So when you do this or any kind of roofing, you're supposed to have the screws that have the little rubber gasket on it. So I'm going to put these ones in for now. They're just regular, you know, screws. And then once I go buy those screws, I'll pop these out and put the correct ones in. And I'm only going to put in basically just enough to hold this in place so it doesn't get blown away by the wind or anything. Bottom piece in. And again, sorry for the angle. I know there's not, can't see a whole lot. Okay. Need to get this one clipped in. And I'm actually going to overlap 2 runs, which again, this is not really going to be exposed to water much, so probably even with these screws it would probably be totally fine. And actually, I'm probably supposed to go on the high spot. Oh well, I got 3 screws that'll be off then. Okay, so those pieces are in. I gotta go to the other side. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, finish off camera. All right, so this is where we're at. The roof is on and done. I got all the panels. This one is basically, doesn't fit quite right because it doesn't have the, you know, the tongue and groove. If you look on the edge here, that's why it's sticking out a little bit. Basically the only thing I have left to do on this is to put the trim pieces, which is the 1x2s on the corners along the house. I don't know if I want to do it because if I end up replacing this piece, I mean, the trim piece is not going to sit flush on there. And then one piece over here against the wall. And then, like I was saying, this door, I'm gonna end up redoing that because I really don't like how it turned out. Even without the hinges, it's just not, I mean, it may work, I don't know. Once I get the hinges on and actually check it out, I'll see how it does. But it's, yeah, I don't know, a little weird. It's not sitting in there totally square because it's not attached to anything. It's just literally sitting in there. So, and I think I am going to end the video here. Let me flip this around. All right, guys. Well, I didn't get everything done like I was hoping to. Ran into a couple snags just because things that I forgot. You know, there's always something, it seems like, that, you know, everybody forgets something. But it's pretty much done as much as it needs to be. Everything now is just kind of cosmetic, you know, trim pieces and whatnot. So I think that's going to be it for this video, and there may end up being a pump house part 4 video. Or I'll just do an update, you know, once I actually get it finished and get it painted and everything. Because this is also, I'm going to paint it the same color as the house so it blends in a little bit better. And then the top along the roof, I'll probably paint that piece white, you know, just so it kind of matches the trim of the windows and whatnot. But that's pretty much it, and that's going to be it for this video. I know everybody's probably watching Super Bowl. I don't really watch football too much. Actually, I don't even have cable, so I couldn't even watch it if I wanted to, unless it's streaming online or something. But anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching, checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. If you subscribe, if you're not already subscribed, I would appreciate that too. And I will see you guys on the next video. Aloha.